Our free and equal segment tonight. This is a story the mainstream media won't touch. Bernie Sanders' wife, Jane Sanders, is under FBI investigation for a potentially fraudulent bank loan. And now the senator himself is facing questions about the role he played in pressuring the big bank to secure his wife's loan. Believe it or not, this investigation has been ongoing for over a year. But the Democrats and the mainstream media, they aren't interested. Tonight, we have with us the man who brought this to light, the former chair of Donald Trump's campaign in the state of Vermont, Brady Toensing. Brady, thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, tell me about this. Now, you're the one who filed the complaint originally with the U.S. Attorney's Office, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. I filed it on behalf of a Catholic parishioner, and I happen to be a Catholic parishioner myself, and filed it shortly after the Catholic diocese issued a financial report showing they'd lost almost $2 million as a result of this transaction.
Right, which is a little bit fishy to see. Answer this, though, first for me. Senator Sanders has recently commented on this. He's called the whole thing nonsense and politically motivated, and he's actually targeted you specifically, saying that the crux of the matter is this is politically motivated and you have no credibility because you were the campaign chair in Vermont for Donald Trump. How do you respond to that?
Well, I started looking into this with a public records request back in 2014, before Senator Sanders or President Trump even announced their candidacy. So it goes well before that. And the investigation was started soon after I filed my request in January 2016 by President Obama, his Attorney General, and his U.S. Attorney, all of whom are Democrats.
Right, that's what I was going to say. If I'm not mistaken, all three of those people were Democrats, so I doubt there's political motivation there. Okay, walk us through this then. So you acted on behalf of a Catholic parishioner because the Catholic diocese, they were the ones that were looking to sell these 33 acres of land that Jane Sanders, who was the president of Burlington College, decided to buy. There was a discrepancy of something like $2 million. What did you suspect was the matter?
Well, once I looked at, my complaint is it's a really simple recipe. It consists of documents produced by public records request, analysis of those records, and then incredible reporting by V.T. Digger and 7 Days investigative journalists who uncovered, by talking to witnesses, the fact that a lot of these confirmed contributions never materialized, despite Ms. Sanders confirming to the bank that they would.
Right, and that's the $2 million that you're talking about, because these donors pledged that they would donate a certain amount to Jane Sanders and to Burlington College. She reported a slightly inaccurate, to I guess potentially very inaccurate, of their promises, number of their promises, and that led the bank to giving her money that she really didn't have. Right,
the bank, by confirming the donations, it's just like if you were making a loan application to the bank and you told the bank how much income you were going to make. And if you lied about that income, well, that would be bank fraud. This was just like lying about the school's income to the bank.
Okay, so I'm trying to understand this, and I want to make sure that our viewers understand this. So Mrs. Sanders, she reported, I believe, that it was $10 million. It was a $10 million loan that she needed. She exaggerated the number of donations that she had, or even the number of pledges that she had, so she had no money. Then the bank loaned this money to her anyway. That does sound to me like bank fraud. I'm no lawyer. It sounds to me like bank fraud. Where does Bernie Sanders play into this?
Well, the report I have is that Bernie Sanders' office played a role, I was told played a role in pressuring the bank to give this loan. Bernie Sanders refuses to answer questions about those. And he needs to answer questions. He's in a public office. He's a public official. And we need to understand exactly what sort of contact his office had with that bank.
Right. I mean, there's some poetic justice here. I mean, he's the one that railed against the big banks. But who's making the allegation that he pressured the bank? I mean, is that credible?
I think it is. I think it was at the time. There was a former bank official who said that his office pressured the bank to make this loan. So it remains to be seen how Senator Sanders will answer that charge.
Right, and that would certainly be something that the FBI would then interview the former bank official and hopefully Senator Sanders to find out the truth, because that would be a pretty serious issue of collusion on top of the bank fraud. Where do you go from here, Brady?
We just wait. I'm just waiting and hoping for a full, fair, and impartial investigation.
All right, anything you want to say to the people who are saying it's nonsense because you were part of Trump's campaign?
Well, I wasn't part of Trump's campaign at the time, and I think If you look at the factual and legal predicates, go ahead and look at my letter and assess the facts that were presented to career prosecutors who then made a decision to proceed with what's now a 1.5 year long investigation.
Right. It's fascinating. Like you said, the investigation started almost 2 years ago, I guess a 1.5 years, under Democratic president, Democratic attorney general, Democratic U.S. attorneys here. There's an example of what appears to be almost textbook bank fraud. There's witness testimony now or witness reports that Senator Sanders could have pressured the big bank. This is certainly something you would think the mainstream media and liberals who don't like big banks in the first place would be interested in. Brady,